right. So we have a Frankie here. Studio?
I am here in Los Angeles. Yes, I am in the small office in my studio here in the Arts District of Los Angeles. I'm in the little tiny laboratory. I have a big office out there. That's where our set is and our stage. And then in this little office is where we create all our content, our animation. We have our pipeline engine and in here. So this is like our little brain lab.
So how did you get started, like from street artists? What is like a notable artwork you have? It's on NFT because stories.
Yeah. So I mean, I started like when I was in middle school, high school, I started getting into street art. I mean, I would always like sketch and stuff, but I started doing like graffiti. I got really inspired by just like the graffiti culture and started painting and doing lettering and things like that when I lived in Northern California. And I would actually like mow lawns and buy spray paint, and me and my friends in middle school and high school, we'd get paint and like we would paint under bridges, or we'd go to trains, or we'd get cardboard boxes and paint on our fences at home, and we'd just like make like letters and illustrations and things like that. And this was like, you know, back in 2000, this is like 2000, in the early 2000s, in like 2003 in Northern California. And I was always really influenced by like kind of like graffiti and street art. And it wasn't until I started like understanding what design was and visual design and illustration, I got really inspired by artists like Alex Pardee, who's a really good friend of mine now. He was making comics, and he was making he had a lot of design work at Tower Records back then. And you know, going down to the Bay Area in San Francisco, I would see Upper Playground, I would see all this art, and it really inspired me. And I kind of, you know, was really driven by that. And I ended up going to school, and I took a design industry route. So when I went to school, I started doing visual design. And that's where I went to college in San Francisco, and ended up doing web development and web design. And that kind of like, you know, spilled out into, you know, over the years and years and years, as I learned what the difference between design and art and my influence from street art, and kind of figured out how to monetize, right? Like, because for me, it was like, I wanted to be able to, I was trying to figure out how to do what I love and make it pay, right? Off of what I do, you know? So not having to like work a 9-to-5 type of thing.
I met a lot of the full-time artists. That's exactly what you mean. You create artwork. Why do you want to do other work?
Yeah.
So the most important thing is, of course, you have to brand yourself. People, they know who you are.
Yeah, and you learn that along the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. As an artist, I came from my background in street art and design, and then I went to college in San Francisco, and I started working in the tech industry. I worked in the gaming industry. I was at Zynga in 2012 or 2011 and 12. I started working as a UI designer.
Nice company.
Yeah. I worked on a game called Dream Zoo, and worked on other various games in the mobile department. And I had known how to build like applications, because that's what I went to college for, was building interactive games and working at game studios and working in art studios. And I worked with Pixar artists and pipeline production artists and stuff like that. And so I already had a kind of a thinking of design and in the interactive design field. I started developing iPhone apps in 2011. This was mostly like out of like college projects, but when the App Store opened up, I started developing apps, and I would make art, and I would build apps that you could, you know, I would let you put stickers and things like that on your photos. And, you know, kind of the stuff that Snapchat and Instagram has today, I was doing back way back then. and, sharing them on social media. And through my career and my history of working in the design industry and being really dedicated to kind of like the technology and web apps and multimedia, I ended up getting into blockchain in about 2017. In 2017, I was working with a design agency called Neon Roots, and a buddy of mine, Drew, he said he had invited me to do a contest to design a wallet for a blockchain company that ICO'd in London called Pillar. And I was like, all right, I know how to build iPhone apps and I know how to do design, and I had all this stuff. And so I did that, and it kind of injected me into this whole crypto world. And when I was in London in 2017, CryptoKitties had launched. And when I saw CryptoKitties, I was like, oh, whoa, what? And it kind of like blew my mind. I was like, whoa, wait, there's like cryptocurrency and design mixed together. And so I went through this like whole adventure throughout 2018 and 19. And being a visual artist, having background in gaming and all of that stuff, I ended up working with Dapper Labs. So I applied in 2018. I think I was right. It was when I believe I was in Berlin, Germany, at ETH Berlin, when I applied to work at Dapper Labs, and they hired me. And then, I worked closely with the creative chief.
I know the early investor is actually, he's also from Taiwan.
Yeah.
I was the NBA Top Shop and also.
Yep. Really amazing team, solid guys. I mean, some of the best people I've ever met up there in Vancouver, Mac and those guys, Dieter and I had a chance to work with them, Roham, and did that for about 2 years. And then I moved back to the United States. I ended up in Vegas, and I was working for Dapper Labs. I was doing a lot of like the prototype development stuff. This was after CryptoKitties had launched. I was still minting art as an artist because, in the NFT space, I was starting to mint stuff. So I met Known Origin and the guys over at Super Rare and the founders of OpenSea. So like I had met those guys through, the very early stages. But I started, I was working with Dapper Labs. I started making art, and then I was still kind of doing design industry stuff. I was still doing UI design and helping projects. And when I was at Dapper Labs, I worked on NBA Top Shot. I did like the pack design concept work. I did some of the UI. I actually coded some of the web pages. I helped do a lot of the pitch decks for the Dr. Seuss project and the UFC and things like that. And then towards the tail end, I was like, I kind of want to like go see what's out there. I wanted to go explore, and I was minting artwork on Known Origin and Super Rare, and Whale Shark had like collected some of my pieces. And then I got in with Jimmy at NFT 42, and that led me into working with Gary V on VFriends. So then I worked directly with VFriends, or directly with Gary V, and helped him build VFriends as his big collectible project. So I did the UI design there, helped him design his backgrounds, worked with him directly. Gary V he's probably one of the most amazing product manager guys I've ever met. He's very sharp. He nails it every single time. His feedback is on point. That experience was a rodeo. It was really, really crazy. And we had we had to launch it, I think May. It was like May last year is when the date was, but we worked really, really hard on it. We got it out, and then, helped them build that up. And then after that, I was like, what am I going to do now? I can make art. And then I saw, Gary V's project kind of like blew up, and he had his like NFT explosion, and then Bored Apes was out. And, I was in the middle of like, what should I do? Should I make art, or should I create a project or whatever? And one of my co-founders now, who's on my team, he DM'd me and was like, hey, remember that character Subduck you made? And the character Subduck I made was like a couple years ago. It was just like a little character cartoon I drew up. And I was like, all right, cool, we'll do it. And so I drew all the art, we generated the project, and then boom, and now all of a sudden I have a company and I'm Subducks.
Nice.
Yeah. Pleasure.
Yeah, congratulations.
Here's Subduck for my ducks. So this is a generative project made up of, I want to say, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 pieces of art. Generative. I did a various pack of backgrounds. You can see when you click on each one, there's 26 different backgrounds, 49 different clothing sets, eyes, hats, mouths, skins, and then there's one-of-ones, which are unique individual pieces that I had created. And with that, procedurally generated, I was able to complete the collection of 10,001, I believe is what we did, the maximum.
Nice.
But yeah, all the ducks are pretty awesome. It's really fun to build and make, because when you like draw the eyeballs out, right? You look at it, and when they pop on their heads, some of them work, some of them don't. Some of them look amazing, some of them good. It's just like I love it. This is a meta duck. You ever seen a meta duck?
No.
That's a real duck. and then here's, you look at so yeah, the collection itself is there's a lot of ducks.
Yeah.
But the best one is the meta duck. It's a good duck.
There's a story, it's a fairy tale, talk about that. There's only one dog looks different from the other dog. Yeah, he was not a dog. He was a goose.
Yeah. So, there's a Picasso duck, a money duck.
Yeah.
Meta duck.
Louisiana.
Yeah. These are the one-of-ones. There's a golden duck, and then I made a galactic duck, a space duck, and I made a doodle duck, a guy that's drawn on paper, and I made a Donnie duck because he's got money, and then I made my buddy, I let him make a duck, Columbo duck, and then I made a cardboard duck, and then I made a duck made out of bubble gum right here.
Nice.
Yeah. So these are the unique one-of-ones. These are like the single editions. But yeah, I thought it was really, really funny when I made this project. I made the meta duck. It's just like a picture of a duck.
A lot of time these days when people they collide a PFP project, they think about they also do something else besides change their profile photo. To let the collectors, they do something like.
So the Columbo duck specifically, my buddy Joey, he was an artist. I've known him for years. He's a really fantastic artist, J. Columbo. He was a buddy of mine. I was like, hey, you want to make a duck? And so we collaborated and made like a version of, he was able to take my art and make a duck, right? So that was like our first collaborative piece. Beyond that, there's been a few different collaborations. I think like the derivative people, like other artists take my art, or they take the ducks and they make a version of their own. We've done some collaborations, partnerships like that. We've done a few of those. I think for the most part, the initial collection here is
nice. Yeah, I really like the color.
Yeah, they're fun. There's some wacky ones. There's some weirdo. There's some pretty good ones. I like the ones with bubblegum. There's the little lava ones. This guy's cool. Look at that guy. So yeah, the whole art set collection is really fun to make. I love these characters.
Like any other projects, or any exhibitions?
I'm going to be making a cartoon. We're taking subducks and we're creating a cartoon.
Wow, I'm really looking.
That's in production right now. It looks amazing, and it's the characters, and I voiced one of the characters. I'm having my team also voice some of the characters, and it's based off of the story of kind of my adventure of how I got in the industry and where I grew up and how I came about. And so it's really, really, really cool and exciting. The cartoon is going to be the big thing that I do for this project. We're still building a lot of unique utility and gaming experiences with the subducks coming down the pipeline. We have enlightenment ducks coming. We have toads. We have full website redesign. There's a bunch of stuff coming that we're dropping. We also have our set here in LA in our studio, and we do our YouTube streams. Let me see. So like on our page, let's see, stream. We're making content. We have skits, and we've started introducing like ways for community to add their characters into our props and our sets. So we have a full production studio. Yeah, we have our own TV show. It's kind of cool. Yeah, on our YouTube. This was our NFT LA event, but we have an entire set. We do a full podcast, we do community updates, and then we also like run commercials and contests and things. And we started previewing and demoing our animatic for the cartoon. So we update the community a lot using YouTube. And yeah, we have our full set. I have a big team here. They're all working really, really hard, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We had during NFT LA, we had one of our community mod members, Bread. He came in and hung out with us and brought his little bread puppet over into our set. And so we did a full show with him. We showed some recaps of the highlights of NFT LA. And yeah, the streams that we do each week are really, really fun. You know, we hang out, we talk, and we have our full production studio here. So, you know, it's like, it's the real deal. The one thing that we're doing here and what I'm primarily focused on is, you know, we're in LA. I'm very inspired by TV in Hollywood. I'm very inspired by, you know, the cartoons and things that I grew up with and video games and things. And I think being based here and being a media company and being involved with technology and having a background in gaming, that I'm really pushing to build a really solid brand, utilizing Web3 and the ethos of blockchain, and my deep understanding in technology and kind of economics and tokenomics, that I'm really trying to build something that will create a lot of value and have, you know, community contribution and inspire and build up other artists. One of the things that I love to do is work with other people from the community. So bringing people on to come and work with me, and teaching and dating and helping incubate other projects and teaching, kind of giving my experience out. We can build together is kind of my I guess cheat code.
Nice.
So yeah, so I think like there's going to be some exciting stuff. I mean, I would say in the next like year or 2 years, I'm going to do some pretty amazing things. I'm really excited and devoted fully heartily to this project. Yeah. So
yes, thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. All righty. Bye now.